Right. Let's start. So basically, this is the book um we are going to look at. All right. Under this book, we're gonna look at my rules of the road in that book. Guys, am I audible? Ngiyazwakala? Can you guys hear me? Someone confirm? All right. Yes. Okay. Cool. All right. So rules of the road. Okay, I'm rules of the road. I can hear you clearly. Okay. Nice. Thank you. Rules of the road. Why do we have rules? We have rules to regulate the traffic flow, to ensure its safety, and to protect our rights of our individual road users, right? That's why rules are there. So, first things first, let's asicale ama general rules. So, the most important rule that you have to understand when it comes to Mzansi is that when you are traveling on a two-way road, always keep left. Always keep left whenever you are traveling on a two-way road. That's the first one there. All right. That's the first one there. Number two, enye into engifuna uyikhumbule la is that a traffic officer or your police, their instructions, they are above all of these things that you are learning. Whether you've learned them guma markings, guma rules of the road, or guma signs, So a sign can say travel at 60, and the traffic officer actually would know million traveling on 30 there. Their instructions, they precede over those things. Everything that you have learned is so far, or you are going to learn. So their instructions are above all. That's number two. Number three, understand this one that whenever when you follow another vehicle from the back, right? When you follow another vehicle from the back, a following distance there, it will be the distance that if that person that I'm following, they suddenly stop, right? You will be able to stop your vehicle without swerving. Okay? So the rule there is whenever you follow someone, make sure that you keep a safe following distance. Okay? Then how is that measured? That distance is measured by Uguti. When someone suddenly stops, the person that you are following, they suddenly apply armor brakes, where now you're able to bring your car to a standstill without swerving. Are we together? Sisonke? Sisonke so far? All right. Okay. All right. Continuing with our general rules. So any vehicle that is on the public road or a mover endleleni, right? It must have a clearance certificate. That's your license disc, okay? And that license disc is valid for 12 months. All right. So the rule is all the vehicles that are traveling on the road, they must have that clearance certificate, which is valid for 12 months. All right. So, which means if I get a car this year, go March, right? Next year in February, that would be 12 months, right? That would be 12 months. So before March, I just have to make sure I get another one, right? So should that 12 months pass, right? So maybe I get to next year again, go March, and about 15, stuff like that. Should that 12 months pass, you will have a grace period of 21 days. 21 days to go and get this, a new clearance certificate or a new license disc. Are we together? That's another rule. Guma general rules. Sisonke mus. All right. So lastly, when you are traveling on a one-way route, you may travel on the right-hand side if it is safe to do so, right? You know what's one-way route? It's a road with the traffic that is flowing in the same direction, angit? So everyone is moving on the same direction. So in that case, you can move to another lane if it's safe to do so. Sesonke. Moving on. Sesonke, right? Akekho ngimshile with those general rules. Just make sure that you understand those. Those ones abangakashare live, please do so. Please share the live. Please share the live. All right. Speed limits. Now, the name, it explains itself, right? These are the limits. Shouldn't pass those. Now, let's look at for your private car. For your code 8 people, right? When you are traveling in an urban area, right, and there is no sign shown for a speed limit, your general or default speed, in that case, it will be what? 60 kilometers per hour. You shouldn't pass 60 kilometers per hour if there's no sign shown in an urban area when I'm driving my light motor vehicle. All right? So if I'm traveling go freeways or go highway, there same what these are, all of these speed limits are applicable provided good there's no what, there's no sign. So ngana kungana sign elikhomba ukuthi at maximum you should be traveling at what, then it will be 120 kilometers per hour. For freeways it's 120 kilometers per hour. If I'm not urban and I'm also not on a freeway, right? In that case, my speed limit, it will be 100 kilometers per hour. So travel with anything below that or exactly that. Sisonke? Are we together? So I'm hoping everyone who's writing code 8 they know. Of course, even when you are doing code 10 to code 14, you still have to know those, okay? Because when you with your code 10 you drive your light motor vehicles and you also drive a heavy, right? Stuff like that. So you still have to know those speed limits. Moving along. Now your code 10 people and code 14 people, your heavy motor vehicles, right? Now, there we are talking about number one, I'm a goods vehicles. So your goods vehicles that have each GVM, gross vehicle mass, that exceeds 9,000 kg, right? All of these, they are subjected to that speed. Maximum speed of 80 kilometers per hour, right? So when these cars are traveling go highway, you just have to know Uguti that's the speed limit they have, right? So these they can't be freeway, highways on the same thing when Flizo. Right. So these cars zona on a highway, they can't travel more than 80 kilometers per hour. All right. The other cars that we're gonna look at, it's your passenger vehicles. Here we are talking about your taxis, your buses, and your minibuses, my vehicle and all of those. They fall under that. Those ones, their speed limit is 100 kilometers per hour. So we take them. So Fargo highways, they have to travel with that speed. Okay? Maximum. That's the speed. Are we together? Sisonke? So I hope now you understand why when we were doing science with Wagu Freeway, and then we were speaking about what's this? Goods vehicles that they are not permitted on certain lanes. Alright, they are not allowed here. When we're talking about fast lane and slow lane, alright, it's because of those rules there. Zama speed limits. Okay, since they are not allowed to exceed those, they need to move to certain lanes so that these ones they can travel. Gamnandi. Sisonke, right? So let's move on. Let's look at your dividing lines. Dividing lines are the lines that are your divided roads. In fact, let me not say dividing lines. Your divided roads, right? So they're normally divided by those vertical lines, right? Whether they are solid or dotted. So when dealing with those, let me see. Let's see all of them here. So you see the first four here. The first four lines, they are solid, right? All of these four are solid. And then when we were doing our markings, we've already spoken about these lines, that you don't overtake on those lines. Those are your barrier lines, right? No overtaking is allowed there. So no overtaking is allowed. The only line or group of lines that will allow you to overtake is the ones that are dotted. Okay? The ones that are dotted. Alright, and the ones that are dotted, we spoke about 3 types of them, right? There were 3. We spoke about your dividing lines, which were dividing 2 traffic, right? 2 traffic, the oncoming, nemotes yapezul, right? And then we spoke about your lane lines, which were dividing a number of lanes whenever you have multiple lanes, right? So on a road that's moving in the same direction and having multiple lanes. And the last one, we spoke about your continuity lines, the ones that you get if the lane is about to end or start, right? We get that one, guma off ramps and guma lane reduction, stuff like that, when the road narrows. Yeah. So, yeah, just understand that. This is just the repetition on that. Alright. The only line that allows you to do a U-turn, alright, it's your dividing line. It's your dividing line because it's dividing traffic moving in the opposite direction. That's the only one that will allow you to do a U-turn. By the way, speaking of those solid lines, the solid lines, where on the road are we gonna find this 1, 2, 3, and 4? Please answer there. Comment with an answer. I'm coming now. 1 minute. All right. Let's see. So only 4 people answered. Yeah, man. On blind rise. on one-way road, at curves, highways. Okay, right, guys, remember this, right? Remember, when you participate, you do it for yourself, right? I normally say, fail here, fail in these live sessions. Don't go and fail on your actual learners. Understand this. When you go and fail, right? It's you who failed, right? Us, the only thing that we can say, sorry, Poti, sorry, Sisi, right? But do whatever it is in your power to avoid to go and fail, right? I hope we are clear there. So when you participate, you do it for yourself. You fail on these live sessions, not on your own, on the actual test. All right. Okay, moving along. On a two-way road, highway. All right. So the answer that I was looking for is anywhere where you cannot see 150 meters infrastructure of you. Japan infrastructure. Just must. I think I understand. That was supposed to be in front, right? In front of you. So, yeah, the correct answer would be that, right? So, it's anywhere in the road where you have a limited view, right? A limited view of the road. And the way we normally measure Guti, how is your view is limited on the road? It's if you cannot see 150 meters in front of you, right? So, all right. Moving along, where was I? So anywhere on the let's look at this side. What are we having? All right. On the right hand side, I'm having what? Or rules that are governing overtake. Right. So not just overtaking, but overtaking on the left. Overtaking on the left. All right. So you only overtake if it's safe to do so, right? Only overtake if it is safe to do so. Overtaking on the left, one thing that I want you to understand, when I do that, I shouldn't step into this yellow line. All right. So stepping into that line is not allowed. I'm the one overtaking, right? So if the space is not that wide, such that I can't overtake without stepping into that shoulder of the road, then I wait, right? But if the space does allow Oguchi, I can overtake without stepping there, then I do the overtaking. Are we clear? Are we clear? All right. So that's your normal overtaking. Let's just say imoto istakile then, right? Imoto istakile in that road where it's not enough, right? In that case, yes, I can do that, right? So during emergencies, we can do that. Normally, it's when this guy will be instructing you, right? A traffic officer telling you, okay, pass this side. So remember, a traffic officer, when they instruct you, you can break everything that we spoke about, right? All of the rules we can break if they say break them. So yeah, when they tell you to step to that line, you can do it. You can do that. You can overtake on that. So I think, yeah, that's what I would want you to understand it, all right, that's what I would want you to understand about that. Make sure that that's clear. Let's look at these ones. I think, yeah, I skipped some lines. All right, what's this? This was overtaking another vehicle in general, right? Overtaking another vehicle. We already spoke about these solid lines. We said that these ones, they prohibit you to cross, all right? So you can't be overtaking. You can't be overtaking on those lines, right? So they forbid that, all right? And now, if I am overtaking another vehicle, all right, and I move to the other side, what I have to make sure is that before I come back, right, I must keep a safe following distance there, right? So you don't just overtake and then get back. So make sure that when now there's enough distance between you and the car that you are overtaking, that's when you can go back into that. All right. So normally these, we spoke about them, you would find them in, I said to you, you're going to find this where you have a limited view of the road, right? So if you cannot see this part, right? So if you cannot see enough on the road, then you'll have those solid lines telling you that, hey, starting from here, you are no longer allowed to overtake. So those things, they normally happen in areas like your blind rise, meaning on top of is it a cliff or a hill, something like that, like it's on top of a mountain, kinda, so that would be your blind rise, or guma caves. It's also happening there, guma caves, all right? So you'll find those guys, those two, the ones for overtaking. And your channelizing line, I hope you remember that, is for people who are moving in the same direction. That one, I'll find it guma what is it, guma blind spots, right? So if I'm entering maybe from go highway, stuff like that, as long in and then I'll find that, because it's some sort of blind spot, I can't see cars on my mirrors, then I'll have that channelizing line. Are we together there? So those are the lines engifuna understand. So should you remember, in those dotted lines, you are allowed to overtake, and you are allowed to move into the road of oncoming, but you only do that if it is safe to do so. Okay, you don't just do that, you do it because it's safe. There are no cars, the road is clear outside, and then you do that. You overtake, you move there, and then you overtake that person and come back. Sisonke, I think the last one that I would want you to remember here is that whenever you overtake a bus, just be careful of people who are on boarding and the ones who are leaving the bus, right? Laba bakhwelayo nalaba abehlayo. Whenever, just when you are overtaking a bus, yes, angithi that bus is stationary by that time, izabe imile. Stationary bus, not just any bus, not a moving bus, but a stationary one. Are we together? Sisonke? Right. So I see people say yes. What about one line? I'm not sure what do you mean one line. I'm not sure what do you mean. So write in full sentences. So overtaking on the left there, let me mention something else there, right? When you overtake, it's not allowed. Angit? When I'm overtaking someone on the left, it's not allowed for me to step into that white, yellow, that yellow line, right? Your left edge line. But when I'm being overtaken by another vehicle, just to allow someone to overtake me, then I can step into that line. Alright, I can step into that line, but there's a condition, right? There's a condition there, or there are conditions. These conditions have to hold. Alright, number one, I can only step into that line to allow someone else to overtake me if that road is a one-way road. Number two, I can only do that if it's during the day. Number three, I can only do that if I am not endangering myself or any other road user, right? Number four, I have to have that visibility of view of 150 in front of me. All right, so make sure that you remember those. That's the only time I can step into that line when being overtaken. I'm not talking about the time when you have your car broke. Yes, you can step there, and also when a traffic officer orders you to do so, right? You can also do that. But I'm talking about when you want to allow someone else to overtake you. Are we clear? So that yellow line, you don't. Another sisonkimus. Before I continue, are we together? Are we together? Koneng mshia. Okay, Sibo says yes. Sisonke and Tonto, yes. Alright. Eunice, yes. Okay, cool. Now, another rule that I want you to understand on the road, you are not allowed to just stop your car. You can't just stop your vehicle on the middle of the road. Alright? You must stop because a sign is telling you to do so, or a marking is telling you to do so, or a traffic officer is telling you to do so, right? Stop under those, but you don't just stop. Or maybe you are yielding for pedestrians, right? It's your marking telling you to do so. But in general, you can't be stopping, right? Unfortunately, then there are those cases whereby your car breaks, right? It breaks, and then when your car broke, then unfortunately you just have to stop in the middle of the road, right? Stop wherever you are. And then we spoke about that. Yes, as it breaks, you have to move into that yellow line, right? Move there. But that's not the only thing that you have to do, right? That you step into that line, allowing abanye abantu ukuthi badlule. Another thing that you have to do is you have to display an emergency triangle. Let's see if we have it here. You have to display a triangle, your emergency triangle, that says, hey, man, this is an emergency. It's an emergency. I didn't just stop. So you display that, you put it 45 meters away from your vehicle, right from the back of your vehicle, then you place it there. You know what does that mean, right? It is a rule that every car that is on the road, it must have that emergency triangle, right? Every car, it must have that triangle. So benzela gona lokho ukuthi when, as you can see here, I think you see this, right? So this person stepped into that yellow line ungapha on the left hand side of the road. right, to cross the shoulder of the road, right? It's just because maybe their motor vehicle has broken down, and they've placed this triangle 45 meters from the back of the car, and yeah, making sure that this triangle is facing the traffic, the approaching traffic, so the traffic that will be approaching this vehicle, meaning the cars that are moving in that direction, right? So it has to face them. Are we together there? Siswang? Eunice, thank you for the gift. Thank you, Eunice. Sisonke? So on the road, you are not allowed to just stop. Okay? You only stop nangabe there's a marking or a sign or traffic officer is telling you to do so. But nje, you are not allowed. Okay? Moving along, let's see. So when being overtaken, when you are overtaken by someone, these are the two things that you should do, right? Number one, you move to the left as far as you can, right? As far as it's safe, you move to the left hand side. Number two, do not accelerate. Don't accelerate. Don't accelerate. Let the person pass. Come on. Oguti, they are breaking the rules or what? You should always follow this, right? For example, let's just say the speed limit there it's 80 kilometers per hour, right? So which means all your motor vehicles they should travel at that speed, right? But you see, this person is coming 120 or whatever it is. It is not your duty to stop them, right? They are not I'm a police or what. So it's just an ordinary person but moving at a high speed. When what you have to do, move and do not accelerate. Are we clear? Move, let them pass, and don't accelerate. By the way, speaking of police and these other emergency vehicles, Bona they can break the rules, right? They can break rules that we're gonna discuss here, and the ones that we have already discussed. Are we clear? All right, moving along. Let's see. So yeah, as you can see here, they say road shoulders, right? You may not drive on the shoulders of the road to the left of the yellow H line or to the right, right? The right one will be white if it's a one way, right? So that white line, you can't. This one, it's not allowed. But the only time you are allowed to do that, it's what? It's if those conditions that I spoke about, if it's a one-way road, right? If it's during the day, that's what that means, meaning it's between sunrise and sunset, right? And if it's safe to do so, meaning you don't endanger any road user, and you have a visibility of 150 meters ahead, right? So you can see 100 meters and 50 meters in front of you, all right? Then you can allow someone when you are being overtaken. What is it? So to allow another vehicle to overtake you. All right. All right. Moving along, passing that. Now your traffic lanes. Traffic lanes. Your traffic lanes are those dotted lines, right? Yeah. In most cases, when you are on the road, you'll be traveling on those lines, right? So what happens is, we already spoke, this is where you do your U-turn if it's a dividing line, right? But if we are just talking about your lane lines, angithi we spoke about three. It was your dividing lines, your lane lines, and your continuity lines. So your lane lines. Now, if I want to change lanes, right? I want to change lanes. The last thing that I should do, or the last action that I should do, is to check my blind spots. All right, who can tell us what are blind spots? So when I'm changing lanes, I must do that. What are my blind spots? Let's see. Gutaban bakona. Blind spots. It's a place where you cannot see. User, thank you for trying. Abanyantini. It's something like that, but I want you to put it right. It is the site where you can't see. Nope. Areas that are not visible on your rear view mirrors. Yes, Flizo. Those are the areas that are not visible, right? So I cannot see these areas when I look at my mirrors of the car. So those will be your blind spots, right? So that's the last action that you do when you want to change lanes. The other one is the first action, right? So when I want to change lanes, I must make sure that other people see me that I want to change lanes, right? So I must indicate my intentions, right? So I move that indicator that will say, hey, I'm moving to the left or I am moving to the right, right? So the way I do that, I indicate in good time. I don't indicate and change lane. I indicate first, right? Make sure that there is some time, Yana. And then, while I'm busy checking the other things, my mirrors and all of that, right? And then lastly, check my blind spots. And then if it's still safe, then I can move into another lane. Are we together? Sisonke? So I must indicate my intentions in good time. You don't indicate and change a lane. You indicate making sure that everyone uyakubona ukuthi hey ubafu ufuna ukumuvela to the left or to the right, okay? And then you check your mirrors, check if there are other cars that are approaching you ngespeed esidlula sakho na on the left, on the right, or whatever la kule lane ufuna ukumuvela kilo, right? And check my blind spots, then change lanes. Hope we are clear there. All right. So yeah, if you know that, if you keep that in mind, I think that would be fine with me. Moving along, traffic circles. All right, here what I want you to understand, Guma traffic circles, right? Number one, we always travel in what? In a clockwise direction, right? In your traffic circles, you'll be always traveling in your clockwise direction. Number two is that now, if we are just talking about your normal traffic circle, right, the bigger one, the big one, then you must yield or prioritize or give right of way to the cars that are within the traffic circles that are approaching from the right. So the cars that are within the circle approaching from the from your right hand side, you must give right of way. Gibo. There we are talking about your normal roundabout, right? But if we are talking about a mini one, right, a small one, a small circle, there you give right of way to the cars that have crossed this line first, that dotted line first. All right, who can tell us what's that dotted line? What's the name of that? That horizontal dotted line. What's the name of it? So in your mini circle, you give right of way to the car that has crossed that first. Yield line. Yes. So yep, that would be your yield line, right? That would be your yield line. Are we together? Can I move? Can I continue? My people from. Are we together? Sisonke? All right. Teachers master saying yes, sir. Okay, cool. All right. So we already spoke about stopping on the road. Let's look at this side. What do we have on the right hand side? No, this thing is gonna make me to skip certain things. Let me do this. No, a single page view. All right, cool. All right. So moving on. All right. So crossing or entering, right? A road or traffic lane. I spoke about this, right? So when I do that, I just have to make sure that it's clear, right? That it is the road is clear, man. I'm not endangering anyone, right? So if I move where I'm changing a lane or what, I just have to make sure that the space is clear. I can do so safely without disturbing, obstructing the traffic flow, right? And also endangering anyone. So that's the rule about moving into a space. It doesn't matter whether I'm changing the lane or ngiguma intersections or what. So I can only do so if it's safe to do so. Okay? If it's safe to do so. If it's safe to do that and I'm not going to disturb the traffic flow, then do it. All right. Moving along, let's look at this one's your hand signals, right? Your hand signals. Number one, you may not just use hand signals whenever you want, right? Number two, hand signals are not allowed. Gupi, Uma freeways. We don't do these things on your freeways, right? Go highway, no hand signals. And these are the hand signals that we are talking about. They are between a driver and a driver. All right. So if I raise a hand like that, I mean that stop. I'm telling the driver that the other driver to stop. And if I do that, I hope you see my hand, right? So if I wave it like that, it will mean they should slow down, right? So I'm waving my hand like that with my palm looking down. So that what it means. Slow down, chief. So if I do this, wave it to the front, it means they should overtake, right? And if I am pointing it like that, it means I am turning to the left, to the right, I mean. And if I do that, it means I'm turning to the left. All right? So hand signals are not allowed. You don't just use them, and they are not allowed on the freeways. And that's their interpretation. Uguti, what do they mean? Are we together? So they are allowed on any public road? Yes, as long as not go freeway, right? And again, as long you don't just do them, you don't just use hand signals. You should use hand signals maybe, like, for example, if you're not sure that your indicators are working properly, right? You can do that. Just use when it's necessary. When it's necessary, you can do that. Sometimes it's you're using it maybe because my indicators, they can only show you certain things like turning left, I'm braking, and your lights, they can only show you those other things. Yeah, you can use your hand signals there, maybe to tell someone that, hey, I'm giving you the right of way, stuff like that, if it's necessary, only if it's necessary. Okay, all right, moving along. Guma intersection. We already spoke about the first line on intersection, that you cannot enter go intersection, right, if you are going to endanger or obstruct a traffic flow, right? So if you're endangering anyone, including yourself, shouldn't enter that in that intersection. And number two, Guma intersection, when we're looking at the road markings, right? Remember these yellow lines we spoke about, these ones, they are found only Guma intersections, right? Your mandatory direction arrows. I hope you remember that. Your mandatory direction arrows found Guma intersection, you should obey what they tell you to do. Remember, they tell you, Uguti, you should turn left, turn right, or proceed straight, right? They will tell you what to do. Depending on whatever lane, Ogilo, do what they are telling you to do. Remind me, can I change lanes then? Can I change lanes on mandatory direction arrows? Are these signals telling the other driver that I am slowing down? Mosa, that they should slow down, right? They should slow down. All right, yeah. So you are not allowed to change lanes on those yellow lines, right? Remember that. Just remember that. And you're gonna get the question. They love it. They love it. Even though that they might not look like that in your test. Sometimes they look like that, but in most cases they look like the ones that are on the simulation test. Remember, we have a simulation test. Yeah, which helps you to practice these things, right? So yeah, white ones, right? So we spoke about these markings. We said these ones, they tell you about the yellow ones, right? They tell you about the yellow ones, that those yellow ones, they are coming, and then this is how they would be, right? For example, let's just say I'm traveling on this lane. That lane, it would say, hey, in this lane ahead, you're gonna find a yellow arrow that's telling you to turn left, right? If I don't like what it's saying, can I change lanes on these white ones? Can I go to this one? Maybe I want to proceed straight. Can I go to another lane? All right, so Tandega says yes. So yeah, the correct answer, it would be yes, right? So move. You are not a tree, puppy. Right? So move into another lane. All right, move into another lane if you don't like this, what that one is saying. But only those yellow ones. When we get to mandatory ones, and then you want to change lanes, right? You're gonna be doing what? You're gonna do what the first line was saying. You're gonna obstruct, right, the traffic flow. You are going to disturb the traffic flow. Number two, you're gonna endanger other road users by doing that, because everyone on the road understands this, right? Before you have the license, you go through this training to understand these things. All right, and yeah, I hope we are clear. So now let's look at when you are turning my intersections. When I'm turning to the left, what should I do? So first thing, I'm turning to the left, right? I said whether you are turning to the left or right, you have to always indicate your intentions in good time, right? Spoke about that. Indicate when I'm changing a lane, I'm turning, just indicate your intentions in good time. But now, because I'm turning to the left, I must do an extra thing. I'm moving closer to the left if I'm turning to the left. That will also apply to the right when I'm turning to the right, the same thing will happen, right? So if it's safe to turn, then turn, right? So if you're done, because you're turning, so if it was a stop, just stop. If it's a yield, just yield and then turn left. But what you have to understand is that make sure that you kill your indicators if they don't, as long as they don't adjust themselves, right? After so tenile. So if they still indicate I'm still turning to the left, but so tenile when yeah, manually do that. Are we together? Sisonke? So the very same thing will apply to the right. If I'm turning to the right, I will have to do that. All right. But when you are turning to the right, there's one extra thing that I want you to pay attention to. All right. So it's the very same thing. If I'm left, I still indicate in good time. I indicate my intentions and I move close to the right. But now, the extra thing that I want you to understand, yield to oncoming traffic if this road is a two-way road. Angit? So if that road has traffic's moving in opposite direction, yield to the cars that are approaching. Are we together? Sisonke? Guys, ukhona engimshiyayo? Sisonke? All right, is both saying yes. Right. Yes. All right. Okay. So make sure that you understand that yielding only applies if I am going to turn right. Right? So if I'm going to turn right, go two-way road, then I have to yield. All right. I have to yield. So, yeah, don't forget that. All right, so let's look at parking. Let's look at the rules that are governing parker, right? Again, we spoke about you don't stop anywhere on the road. So, you don't park anywhere, right? You don't stop anywhere to public road. You stop in an urban area, you will have these things is Baliugut, okay? These are your parking areas, right? Those markings, your parking base, okay? That's where you park, okay? What I want you to understand about the parking, the first rule, right? In that urban area, is that you cannot park your car there for more than 7 days. All right? You cannot park your car there for more than 7 days. Number 2, if we are talking about rural areas, you cannot park it for more than 24 hours. All right? All right, so number 2, we already seen exclusive parkings. Those parkings that are reserved for other cars, right? You can't be parking there. All right? We spoke about that. You can't be parking your car there. All right. Number 3, I think this one, guma sidewalk, guma pavements. I cannot be parking my car there, right? Where people are passing on those pavements, I can't be parking my car there unless I am a vendor. I'm selling. I'm a cabbage or whatever it is. And then, yeah, I can put the car there to do the business. Are we together? Are we together, guys? Sisonke? So make sure that you know those basic ones. I think the last one it would be, if I'm parking, nangi parking on that parking bay. Let me see if there's a parking bay here. If ungipakile, yes, there it is, right? You see those are your parking bays, right? That's where you park your vehicle. If ungipakile, the car cannot project or exceed that parking bay into the road with more than this, right? Let's just say our parking kahle lapha, you know, upake scans or whatever it is. That car shouldn't exceed that 450. Okay, so it shouldn't exceed 450 into the road. Are we together? 450 millimeters? Nope. 1 minute, guys. All right. So Sisonke, right? I hope we are clear there. I hope Sisonke. Make sure that you take note of all the things that I'm highlighting. You see, I'm not covering the whole book, right? I just talk about specific things as ballegin, right? And so far, all of these things, they don't matter whether you are doing code 8, code 10, or code 14. It just doesn't matter. You have to know them, right? It's your general, it's that part that falls under all of those things. If it falls under specific category, your code 10, I tell you, right? I tell you. So, listen. All right, cool. Moving along. Other place, in fact, these are distances. So these are the distances where I cannot stop or park, right? Distances that I cannot be stopping or parking. Please make sure that you know these numbers, all of them. Make sure you know all of these numbers. I'm talking about your 9 meter, your 6 meter, your 5 meter, your 1.5, and 1 meter, right? Make sure you know all of this. Now we're gonna look at Uguti, which one falls under what. You don't just have to know the number, you must also know Uguti it applies under for in, right? For your pedestrian crossing, remember the marking, right? Kuma pedestrian crossing, I cannot be stopping from 9 meters. 9 meters so close. Anything less than 09, I can't be stopping for that. All right. So from that pedestrian crossing, anything less than 9 meter, from 9 going down, I can't be stopping. That's number one. Number two, if it's a tunnel, subway, or bridge, right? All of those, I can't be stopping or parking if that distance is less than 6 meter. Right? Your intersection, 5 meters. 5 meters from the intersection, you can't be doing that. Right? You know intersection, right? Your junctions. All right. So, no parking there. 1.5 from go fire hydrant, you know, that thing, Yamanzi. Right? You can't be stopping 1.5 meters from it. You can't be parking there. Last one, 1 meter from the edge of the road. If you are not go parking bay, remember go parking bay, that's where you park, right? So if you are not on a parking bay, 1 meter from the edge of the road, we are talking about your yellow line. That yellow line, right? The shoulder of the road. You can't. right? You can't be doing that. Are we together? Sizonke? Sizonke there. Make sure that you know those numbers. You know exactly what is zamba nani. Therefore what? Again, this is still general knowledge. It has no specifics ukuthi khuluma ngabo bantu abayenza code 10 or what. Just most of these things, there's a slightly difference in between Elena's code 8 and Elena's code 10, right? It's just those smaller few things. Most of the knowledge is applicable in both sides. All right. So moving along, let's talk about other non-stopping places. All right. So if I am parking, if the road is less than 9 meter, let me put it like that, less than 9 meter wide, right? I cannot be stopping next or opposite another vehicle. So I can't be stopping next or opposite another vehicle if the road is less than 9 meter. Alright? Number 2, on a two-way road, right? I can't be stopping facing in traffic, right? So oncoming. I cannot be doing that. Are we together? So I can't be facing that. And yes, your those subways, tunnels, and the bridge, I can't be stopping in those things. All right. So all of those non-stopping distances, we already spoke about them, right? So you can't be stopping there. The one that I want us to look at, remember, I can't be obstructing a traffic flow endleleni. So you cannot be stopping la kunomgodi khona if ukstoppa kwakho is going to obstruct a traffic flow, right? So I cannot be stopping there, right? All right, cool. Lastly, it will be your islands. All right, your islands. You can't be stopping on those things unless you are trying to avoid an accident. Are we together? Sisonke? So, yeah, I think we've covered everything here. Maybe the last thing that you can't be doing, it's like it has to do with your parkings. You cannot be parking Uma entrances, Uma entrances. Yeah, you can't be doing that. But other than that, I hope we have covered the stoppings. Make sure that you don't confuse that 9 meter. Let me go to that 9 meter. Wait, I think there's something that I left out here. This one, parking urban area. If the wideness of the road is less than 5.5 meters, 5.5 meters, I cannot be parking, right? So if the road is less than 5.5 meters, I can't be parking there. I don't want. Make sure that you don't confuse this 5.5 with 9 meters, right? 9 meters is about parking next to or opposite another vehicle. Your 5.5 meters is just about parking in general in a road that's less than in a road that's less than 5.5 wide, right? Then I can't be parking there. Are we together? So another thing about the cars that park longer, right? Say, what is the legal time to switch on the lights of your vehicle? Okay, so you switch on your lights of the vehicle, number one, if it's during the night, right? From sunset to sunrise, you switch on the lights there. Number two, switch on your lights if you do not have a visibility of 150 meters in front of you because of weather, right? So because I cannot see, maybe it's raining or whatever it is, right? And then yeah, I can switch on lights one. Who was this? Lama, are we clear? So that's when you switch on your headlights. But yes, we're going to look at that this side. All right. I think you see it right there. We go between sunset and sunrise during the night. That's the first time that you do switch on lights. And the second one, it would be if I don't have a visibility of 150 meters in front of me, right? Because of weather. That's because of weather, not just in general, right? So there's a mist, there's something that's hiding. And then yeah. All right, so while let's just expand Guma lights then, right? So lights, your main beam, right? We are talking about your bright there. Your bright, it should be able to shine at least object 100 meters ahead of you, right? At least 100 meters in front of you. They should be able to do that. So that's the minimum. They should be able to show you objects, whatever that's 100 meters in front of me, right? So that would be your bright. And then your dim lights. Your dim lights, they should at max show me objects that are 45 meters in front of me, right? Those will be my beam lights. Are we together? Are we together? So I think the last thing that I can put here is that you are not allowed to have those emergency lights, those funny lights. A normal car is not allowed to have those. All right. Another thing, maybe your brake lights. Since we are talking about thermal lights, your brake lights, they must be brighter than your rear lights, right? So those backlights, when I switch on during the night, right, ngemuva imoto iyakhanyisa ngobofu. So your brake lights, they must be brighter than that. Okay. Lastly, that your brake lights during the day. During the day, when you apply brake, it should be visible at a distance of 30 meters away, right? Someone with a normal eyesight must be able to see. All right, we are breaker. It's not just the brake, even your indicator. All right, 30 meters away, I should be able to see those. All right, are we together? Make sure that the things that I'm talking about, you know them. Huh? Make sure you know those. Mark Sieker. Siswang? So make sure you know those. If you know these things, it doesn't matter ukuthi i-testing ngengiphi ozoyithola. You will be fine. You will be fine. Sisonke? Moving along. Let's look at towing. Towing. When towing. I think I skipped something. Why am I seeing things today? Oh, all right. I'm gonna look at that one in a minute. All right, towing. So when you are towing, these are the things that I want you to understand. So when we tow a car, we can tow a car with a rope, right? Or tow a car with a topper, right? Topper in Simbi. Okay? So let's start here. When you are towing, the distance between these cars that are being towed, right? So, or the cars that are towing each other, right? it shouldn't be more than 3.5 meters. The distance, it shouldn't be more than 3.5. Are we together? Are we together? All right, let me do something here. All right. Okay, let's continue. Just making sure. All right. So I see Ines saying yes. All right. Now moving along. Let's see what's happening. So the distance between those cars doesn't matter whether I'm using a topper or what. It doesn't matter, right? It shouldn't be more than 3.5. And now let's look at what happens if the object or that substance, I don't know what to call it, but the thing that we are using to tow each other, right? That rope, for example, it's more than 1.8 meters. So should that thing be more than 1.8, right? We must use a flag in between. We just put it there. In between that, put the red flag there. Right, just like that. I hope you see it there. So for example, if a question asks you, what should you use when you are towing another car with a rope that's 2 meters? All right, make sure that you know. Good, we should put a red flag in between, right? Put that red flag there. Sisonke, are we clear? I think another thing that I want you to understand about towing using a rope, it's that you are subjected into this speed limit. You cannot exceed 30 kilometers per hour. So that speed of 30 kilometers per hour, you cannot when you are using a rope. So if you want to drive faster, you must use solid bars. Those are your topper or a dropper. All right, your topper or a dropper. You can use those. So you can use these two guys. All right. Are we together? So if I'm towing someone with a rope, it's a quick question on towing. Yes, I'm listening, Eunice. What's the question? Only red flag. Only the red flag, right? So if the distance between those cars that are towing each other is more than 1.8, you should use a red flag. A red flag is very common. You will see it that it's used in different places. Even when goods they are projecting more than certain thing, we'll be using this red flag in most cases. So red flag, it's very common. All right, so you are using a red flag. No yellow, no other colors. Red. All right. So now, go highway, right? On a highway, it's called a highway. because their cars are speeding. On a highway, in most cases, there is a minimum speed. So if that minimum speed is above 30 kilometers, right? So let's just say they are telling you in this highway, the minimum speed is what? It's 40 kilometers per hour, right? Shown by a command line, a command sign, right? You just know, oh, in that case, you can't be towing someone there if you are using a rope, right? So if you are using a rope, you can't be towing someone there. All right. So moving along. Now, another thing that I want you to understand about the part of a rope. A rope cannot be used if the car that I'm towing, it doesn't have brakes, all right. Okay. So if the car has brakes that are not fine, I cannot be using a rope to tow the car. I should, in fact, use what? The other ones, right? So I should use your topper or dropper, right? So if the brakes are failing, then I cannot be using a rope, right? So this is the car that I'm towing. Another thing about that car that I'm towing, you understand, is that the person driving it, right? That person who's there controlling that steering wheel, that person kumele abe ne-license empermitayo ukuthi are that car. Are we together? Sisonke? Are we together there? Are we together there? Can a chain be used? Yeah, but it will be treated like a rope, okay? Germany, it will be treated like a rope. Any rule that's subjected to a rope, it will go for a chain. Thank you for that. It's a good question. So yeah, moving along. So make sure that you understand those things. All right. And maybe lastly, the car that that I'm pulling. All right. I can only pull that car at a certain speed. It's above 30 kilometers per hour if inama passengers in it, if I'm using a semi-trailer, right? So I can't be having passengers there driving more than that if it's not a semi-trailer. So if I ask you ngathi, for a semi-trailer having passengers in it, can I drive with 40 kilometers per hour? Then you have to understand that yes, that can be done, because your trailers, they are not zisebenzisa a dropper, right? So they use a dropper. They are not azima rope and all of those zinzimbi there. All right. Okay, so moving along. Done with towing. Let me look at these things here. Let's look at other things. But I think I skipped something up there. Let me go up. I think your compulsory stops. Let's look at your compulsory stops. When should you stop? So I should stop when I'm involved in an accident, right? Immediately If I was involved with accident, stop there. Again, you should stop if a traffic officer or sign or whatever marking is telling you to do that. The last one, stop if there is a vehicle in front of you that is waiting for pedestrians to cross. So I'm not overtaking them. I should be stopping also, right? So stop in those areas. Stop to allow pedestrians to cross. Stop in those other areas. Yeah. Now let's look at other things that are not allowed guma freeways, right? Stuff that are not allowed on our freeways. Of course, here. Of course, pedestrians are not allowed on our freeways, right? So you can't be walking. Pedestrians are people who are walking, right? So you can't be walking. The only time that would be permitted is if there's a marking that says here, Abandu, they can cross the road, right? So people are not allowed on that. Animals also are not allowed guma freeways. We are talking about animals that are not inside a vehicle, just animals, right? Can't be having that. We can't be having bicycles, your motorcycles. This thing. But let's let this one leave this one. But the one that's ballegili like donkey, bicycles, all right? So these ones can only be important for those people who are doing C1, code 1. All right? All these other parts. Hand signals, we spoke about that. Not allowed. Guma freeways, right? Yeah. So that's it. That's it. Stopping, it's not just go freeway. Anyway, on the road. Just stopping is not allowed. Ageko ngimshiyayo, right? Are we together? Only 26 minutes left. All right. So, okay, I see someone say yes. Let's look at something about the learner driver. Guma freeways, right? This is the point that ilballegil. This only one, right? So, is that when you are driving, you must be accompanied by a driver who has a license of that same class, right? So if I drive a truck, I must have a driver on code 14 next to me. All right? I can't be driving alone. Understand that? That's the only point. Logo gunye I can do. I can carry passengers, because even that driver himself or herself uzaba a passenger nagana amilapo, right? So there's no other restriction says it here you can't be traveling with whatever speed if you are a learner driver. No. The only thing that we have to understand is that you must be accompanied by that person. Are we together? Sisonke? So you must be accompanied by someone on a license of that car. All right. Let's look at this. Let's look at the use of a hooter. Anything that has to do with a hooter. Number one, a hooter, it can't just be used, right? So a hooter was initially designed to be used for avoid accidents, right? So use it only when it's necessary. You don't just use it. You don't just use a hooter on the road. Number two that I want you to understand, the second point, is that hooter must be audible or at a distance of what? At least minimum 90 meters away. Number three, the tone and pitch of that hooter shouldn't vary. It should sound the same. 3 points. Number one, I'm using this if I'm seeing a situation or an accident, right? I don't just use it unnecessary. Number two, it must be audible, or someone who's 90 meters away should be able to hear that. At least 90 going forward, right? Number three, the tone or pitch of that hooter shouldn't vary. Sisonke. Are we together? All right. All right, so let's look at pedestrians right of way. So this one's just telling us ukuthi pedestrians, they have a right of way kuphi nakwenze njani. So basically, number one, on a pedestrian crossing, right? Guma crossing swap. If you found them there, first, they have the right of way. So let them pass. So let them pass. You found them there, let them pass. And again, if there's a signal that says, hey, they should cross, let them cross. Right? We know those signals. The one that says, pedestrians akadlule, let them cross. Number three, I want you to understand, you can't be overtaking another vehicle that has stopped. If this vehicle has stopped, pedestrian crossings, for those pedestrians to cross. You can't be passing that vehicle. Right? So, you have to stop with that vehicle and allow them to pass. Lastly, pedestrians, if they are not crossing there on a pedestrian crossing, they can cross at this distance, right? At that distance, 50 meters away from a pedestrian crossing, right? They can still cross there. Pedestrians are not allowed to cross anywhere on the road, but pedestrians crossing, right? Where there are these markings, right? Those ones or these ones, right? So if they're not crossing there, they can also cross at that distance, right? Anywhere in that distance. So anywhere where the distance is not more than that from pedestrian crossing. So 50 going down, they can still cross. Are we together? The question of code 10. Code 10 and what? Code 10 and what are the same? Can you please kindly touch on the topic of my reflectors? All right, your reflectors, that one it has to do with people be code 10 and 14, right? Code 10 and 14. If you're talking about the reflectors that have to be there on the car, right? But hey, guys, okay, no problem. Let's touch on that. So if your vehicle is more than number one, the first one that you have to understand is that your car has to have two Yamaha reflectors, red retro reflectors at the back. Whether it's a light or heavy, it doesn't matter. You just have to have those two red retro reflectors, right? One at each side, yabo. So one is sighting and the other one on another side. Number two, if the car it's more than 7 meters, the length of the car, it's more than your 7 meters. And then there you need your yellow reflectors on sighting. We see them in taxi and all of these cars that are longer. That right? So those are the reflectors that are telling us about the car. The other reflectors, there will be the reflectors of goods, right? It's reflectors that is kuluma goods, right? Good, okay. If your goods project more than this, you have to put this reflector. But those reflectors, they will apply at night. During the day, we'll be using the flag. All right. I hope I have give you a brief on that. Now let's continue. Abandoned vehicles. Let's look at that. Oh, my back hurts. Abandoned vehicles. You remember when we spoke about which you can't park anywhere, right? You can't park anywhere on the road. You park on Guma parking base, right? And then we said if it's in an urban area, there you have 7 days, right? Maximum 7 days. You can put your vehicle there for 7 days, and then that vehicle is still, it will be fine. But you skip 7 days, now that vehicle will be considered as an abandoned vehicle. All right. Go your rural area. We spoke about your 24 hours. There, that vehicle, should it pass to 24 hours, all right, longer it's on that parking, and then there is considered an abandoned vehicles, right? So it will fall under that. So if a vehicle is abandoned or considered as an abandoned vehicle, the traffic officers or amapolisa, right, they have the right to impound it and also remove it there, right? So when as the owner of the vehicle, you'll be subjected to the fees that have that they have to do with removing those impoundings, right? Or if they took it to release it wherever it is. All right, so I wanted to start there. Start by understanding from go parking. The other ones, it would be, of course, now if I'm driving a motor vehicle, right, it's a must, it's a rule. A car should have a number plate, right? One displayed at the front of it, and the other one displayed the mover. At least two, it's a rule, right? 2 number plates. A car should have at least 2 Yamaha number plate, right? So if imoto iyahamba endleleni without a number plate or false number plate, that car will be considered as abandoned. So this should be your general knowledge part, right? General knowledge. So if imoto now, yeah, the only exception is only those new cars, with the paper. Those ones, they have a grace period, yeah. Those ones will have a grace period. But your ordinary car, kumele ibe nama number plate ngaphambili nangemuva. 2 number plates. If I nama number plate, it's considered abandoned. They can stop you, take it, and do all of these kind of things, right? Again, should you another general knowledge, if you're gonna change this into like temper with the engine number and all of that, you change those stuffs, again that car will be considered as abandoned and they will take it from you. All right, the last one, it's if you parked kuma non-stopping or parking areas. All right, so if you parked where you are not supposed to be parking or stopping, then that car will be considered abandoned. Are we together? I think I'll be closing my collisions, my accidents here. Are we together? Sisonke, nonkululeko. Are we together? Oh, my back hurts now. Are we together? All right, so Mary's saying yes, Eunice, yes, yebo. All right, cool. Now, accidents or collisions, right? So the things that I want you to understand here, we already spoke about. Kuma accident, you have to stop immediately. Do that immediately, right? So you have to stop immediately. Number 2, that you have to do, check if there were people injured in that, right? Check if bakhona bandu who were injured. Right, this thing of hit and run, it doesn't work, right? It's against the laws. Check if there were people who were injured. Now, if there was someone injured or killed, these are the things that you have to do. If there was someone injured or killed, right? First, call your emergency services, right? Your ambulances and all of those things. Make sure that you call those ones. And bonke my ambulance, your traffic cops and all of those, just call those guys. All right. Number 2, of course, cars are not permitted to move, so you can't shift your car. If there was someone injured or killed, I need you immediately stop, park it there, whether it's obstructing. Remember, one of the rules of the road is that you can't be obstructing a traffic flow, right? You can't be disturbing a traffic flow. But under this is an exception, right? So if you're involved in an accident, chief, you put it there, like corner, and then these other people, they will see how are they gonna continue on the road. What is blocking the road, it doesn't matter, just put it there, right? The only time you're gonna shift it, it's if I'm a traffic officer, they are done marking the area and doing their work, and then you can shift that car if it's blocking the traffic flow. Are we together? So this is what you do if there was someone killed or injured. Are we together? Sisonke? All right. Okay. So now moving to, if there was no one injured there. All right. So you guys can decide to you shift the cars, right? You move near wherever where you are going, right? Or you go alone. But one thing that you have to make sure is that you report that accident within this period, right? So ilanga kumele lidlule 24 hours shouldn't pass without you reporting the incident. All right. So make sure that you know that these last ones, okay, they are not a problem, but make sure that you know them. So when a traffic officer asking for your details, give them. It doesn't matter, it's names and all of those kind of things. Give them. Number two, you cannot be taking any liquor or drug during that. Okay, can't be taking that. So remember, I think maybe I must close with this since we are left with 9 minutes, right? So if a traffic officer then, right, in that scene, you called them, Basile, they came, right? And now they want to check, Uguti, were you drunk when you were driving, Were you doing a drinking and driving kind of situation? You have to give them what they want. So if they say blow into this, do that. You blow into that. If they want a blood sample, I'll give them that blood sample so that they can test ukuthi botagiwe or not. Sisonke. So the last part, I think it will be about that. Good. How are they able to tell ukuthi you were drinking and driving? We will close it with that. But so far, Sisonke, are we together? All right. So the last part, let's close it with the last part. First things, I want you to understand when dealing with those tests, right? So they ask you, ukuthi manje they want to test your blood, or they want to test your alcohol level. There are 4 cases. 4 cases. Make sure that you know all of them. There are 4 cases. All right. And there are 2 drivers on the road. 2 drivers on the road. We have your normal driver who drives your your private cars, right? There we are talking about you people will be code 8. Right? There we are referring to you. Okay? So your ordinary driver, that driver will code 8. Maga driver, that light motor vehicle. So that person, if baga driver that light motor vehicle, right? And then bamtete a blood sample. That person. if their alcohol level is more than this, 0.05 grams, it means these people were drunk. Are we together? I'm talking about someone who's driving a private motor vehicle. Abantu code 8. This question shouldn't pass you. Should make sure that you understand what I'm saying. Very clear. So if you are that person, and then they've taken a sample of a blood, the alcohol level, it shouldn't pass 0.05 gram. Should it pass, that means you were drunk. Okay? Number 2, if they took a different type of a sample, now they took a breath sample, right? They made you to blow into whatever machine, right? Then in that machine, if your alcohol level is more than 0.24 milligram, you will be considered drunk. We are still referring to your private motor vehicle people, right? So here, good breath sample, we are talking about 1,000 milliliter of a breath sample, right? That's how much the volume of the sample, right? And here we are talking about 100 milliliter of the blood. Are we together? Do you understand those two for an ordinary driver? All right. So that applies for an ordinary driver. So whenever you read this question, the alcohol level, make sure that you understand these two parts. Which driver are you talking about? Which sample are you talking about? Before you answer, don't go and rush for 0.05 just because you are doing this app. Go guy. And then that app asked you about an alcohol level, and then it corrected your answer and said it's 0.05. Okay? Understand exactly which driver and which sample. All right. Now, speaking of a professional driver, these are drivers with the PDP, right? So these are your drivers for my heavy motor vehicles. All your code 14 people. All right. I am hoping that you understand the 0.05 is greater than 0.02, right? 0.05 mkhulu than 0.02. Sisonke mos. So for the very same test, blood, for a professional driver, there it will be 0.02 gram. Which means, what does this mean? It means the law, it's much more strict to a professional driver than it is to your ordinary drivers, right? It's more stricter this side. Lenient for an ordinary driver, but it's strict to I'm a professional driver. Because if I take a blood sample 0.03, right? When as an ordinary driver, you are not considered as drinking and driving, but someone who own a PDP or driver a goods vehicle or heavy motor vehicle, they will be considered drunk. They were drinking and driving. I hope I made it clear. All right, moving along. Again, same thing goes for your blood, your breath sample. Still, 0.24 milligram is bigger than 0.1 milligram, right? It's bigger than 0.1. So for them, it will be 0.1 milligram per 1,000 of milliliter of that breath sample. 0.1 milligram per 1,000 milliliter of a breath sample. Are we together? And like I said, the last thing is that If you refuse to give a blood or breath sample, that's an offense, right? Can't be doing that. When they want it, give them. Are we together? Yeah. All right. Let's see. Siswank? All right, cool. So, yeah, I'm going to end this here. I'm gonna end this here. Go and practice. We have a simulation test. Go and test your understanding so far in that in the simulation test that we have. The link is in my bio. So if you are doing code 14 or code 10, you will see kuna simulation kit test ka code 8 ni those of code 10 and 14, right? So you can click and go and test yourself there. All right, other than that, good night, good people. See you tomorrow. Hey, my back hurts. Don't forget that. Because you see, I'm putting so much energy. Eh? Lava bafuna join a group. Make sure that you do that before the price it goes up, right? I've seen a lot of you have been joining so far, but yeah, do that. Yeah, from me, I am out. Goodbye. What time tomorrow? Same time. Same time. Same time, 8:30. All right. Good night. The one who's saying where? The link is in my bio. Just click on my bio there, the first link there. It will take you into a simulation test. Go and practice what you have learned today. See if you can answer those questions. Sharp. The book, guys, study materials. The study materials I use here, it's available for people who are in the group, right? On the WhatsApp group, they know. It's 125. But other than that, you can go and purchase it wherever you can, right? I hope you saw the cover of the book. Thank you.